your involvement in the Women's Financial Literacy Project?
Well, as someone who's been working in the area of financial planning and financial literacy for women for 20 years, and I run a practice that specialises in that, I'm always keen to be involved in anything that helps women to better understand their finances and that better understands them or better allows them to make informed, participating financial decisions.
And what do you think the top challenges are for women when they're thinking about achieving financial independence and security?
Well, I think the first issue is that women feel quite disadvantaged often in relation to their finances. We know for a fact that the financial industry is primarily male. The jargon, it's full of jargon, it tends to often take a male approach. So women have a real lack of confidence about money, understanding money issues and knowing what to do with their finances. Added to which you've got issues such as the fact that women are time poor. They don't have a lot of time. So even the information that is floating around, if they have to sit down and spend 3 hours reading it and they've got a little window of opportunity of perhaps 20 minutes, that's not actually going to assist them. So being able to access practical, relevant information that can easily be implemented into their everyday lives is the key for women getting in control of their finances.
And so Susan, in what way do you think the Women and Money seminars can benefit Victorian women?
Well, if you then put it in a very simple context, they're seminars for women, developed by women, presented by women at the Queen Victoria Women's Centre. So you can't really get any more female-centric than that. What I've found, having been involved in the program for 2 years now and a program prior to that women like the opportunity to come together in a safe, supportive environment. The thing that's really surprising is that often they realise they know more than what they realise. They share ideas and stories. Sometimes it's not what the presenter says, it's the conversation they had with the person sitting next to them that gives them a great tip or gives them a bit of confidence because the person they're talking with says, oh yeah, I did whatever, or I did this, and they go, oh, okay, I've thought about doing that, but I wasn't quite sure. So to create an environment that is so female friendly and so encouraging and takes away the blame. A lot of what we hear about women and money is about women spend. You know, women are hopeless with money. You know, women aren't serious, and we read these articles about superannuation balances are lower than men. They don't have enough savings. That negative message does not encourage women to get in control of their finances. So creating an environment where you can promote a more positive message. It's about little things that you do. Every bit you do will and can make a difference. It's not expecting that you're going to be financially organised in a minute, but if you just start doing something a little bit differently today than what you did yesterday, it's amazing how you can start to work towards becoming financially independent.
In your presentations during the seminars, you used a lot of real life situations when you talked to participants. Can you tell us why you use those real life situations?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that peer association is one of the biggest drivers of behaviour, and particularly when it comes to money. So, for example, if we look at the analogy of spending, you could look at a group of women, and even though they could have quite different salaries and commitments, they will often exhibit very similar spending patterns. So there certainly is a peer association that exists in relation to money. So from a providing advice or giving some useful information, you can actually use that to your advantage. So by helping them understand there's other people like them, there's other women out there who are worse than them, there are some that are better than them that they can inspire to be like. And I find that using the real life stories injects some humour. And let's face it, money, finances, it's not the most exciting topic in the world. I mean, the average woman would prefer to do housework rather than address their finances. So anything that lightens it up, anything that women go, oh yeah, that sounds like me, if that person could get organised, then I could be like that person. So the stories, and I do this not just with presenting, but when I'm working with clients, the stories are an integral part of the understanding, the awareness, and helping women make some changes with their finances. And also the other thing is to encourage women to learn from each other. We don't talk about money. We talk about a whole lot of things in our lives and share experience and knowledge to learn how we can do those things. But when it comes to money, it's just zipped up. We're all pretending that we're doing better than we actually are. Yep. The important thing to do in putting some context about money and financial advice, it's a continuing conversation. And the great thing about the programs and the way that it's been running is that you can come to a seminar one year and then next year you can go to the next one, which might be the next step. You might even go to the same one you went the year before because you need a bit of a refresher. But if we think of this financial education as a dialogue, it's not a one-stop, solution, it's about a dialogue. So if those women who are attending the programs go away and talk to their friends and then they talk to friends, the potential magnitude of the impact that those sorts of programs can have is really quite amazing. I think what's tended to happen in financial services, and I can say this having worked in that sector for 20 years and on both sides of the fence in my early days, the typical approach of the financial institutions are that women are a niche market. Now, how 52% of the population can be a niche market, and there is research now that shows that women will, within the next 15 to 20 years, there will be the biggest transference of wealth, and a large percentage of that is going to go to women because they make up the majority of the population. I'm talking about developed economies here. The typical approach of the financial services industry is, let's take what we normally do, and I use the phrase, and pink it up a bit. So let's just make it look a bit more girly. That doesn't work. You have to approach financial services, financial advice for women from a purely feminine perspective, right from the start. Forget what you've ever done before. So you've got to get rid of the jargon. You've got to give it to them in little capsules of information that make it palatable, so that someone can pick it up in half an hour, 10 minutes, whatever it is, say, okay, I know what I have to do. Women don't have time, they want easy solutions. So as someone who has been trying to communicate the message for the past 20 years, I find the stories, the analogies, let me just tell you what the next step is. I'm not going to say that I'm going to solve all your problems, but if I can tell you the next thing that you can do and you can implement that, you're going to move a step forward. Once you've accomplished that, you can then go to the next thing. And suddenly you find that you go from being really fearful and anxious about your finances to suddenly finding that you're actually moving ahead quite quickly with your finances. And I get clients who are quite, they're almost surprised because I've been working with them for a while, and then they come in and we'll be talking and they'll stop mid-sentence and they'll say, oh my God, we've just had a real financial conversation, because suddenly the dialogue or the lingo or the jargon isn't so overwhelming anymore.
That's great.